Hi there, so we're going to go and create our first price list. So when you have installed FlowHub, the first time you'll see the tutorials at the top. There'll be an empty section for your price lists, and then you'll also have empty inquiries as well. So on the right side, you'll go ahead and you'll click Create New, and you could do this in either tab. So once we have created, it will then load, and you will be able to have 3 different variations. Now, we have split building your templates into 2 different options. First would be considered add a content block or add a package block. Now, depending on how your pricing structures work, you could use either or. Generally, starting off, you would like to go ahead and work with the cover. You'll have text 2 columns, text 3 columns, and an array of different layouts. The left would be text on the left with an image on the right, vice versa. Centered image, where it's just a larger image for 1, or 2 side-by-sides, perfect for portraits. Again, here if you want more of a block. And then with video content, or large video, and then an image gallery only. We do not yet have more options for different layouts and different video galleries, but they will be released really soon. Also, then you can have a few different options for the types of packages. Package 1, 2, 3, or 4. Now, you may have 6 different packages as an example, but you may want to showcase them at one block, one slide at a time, so you would use the one package. Now, if you want to do them side by side, you could do that. 4 packages usually will work, for example, if you wanted to showcase products, where you wanted to show different types of print collections, different type of album options, and so forth. So you can use different variations here. Now, for the sake of the tutorial, rather than building the block out from 0, I'm going to go ahead and use one of our templates. So these are 3 default templates built in, and you can start with any of these as a jumping block. So I'll go ahead and use, for this one, over here, and it will then automatically go ahead and create the first price list. Now, these images are all beautiful, but they will not be displayed when you do your live preview. But for now, you can easily go through and see the whole structure and the whole layout. So rather than going through each block, which this would be a single, this would be an image on the left with text on the right, this would be text on the left with an image in behind, you have full flexibility to change everything. Now, to actually start and save the template, you do need to make sure that you initially save it, otherwise you don't create a template. If you remove from or change from this page, it will just be completely gone. So I'll go ahead and just save this here, and it will then create it, and now it will be considered in my price lists tab here. So I can always go back and revert to it. If I do make any changes, let's say let's just go like that for now. I can always go cancel changes or preview it. So with that, I'll just go back in, and then I'll be able to save. Now, there are a few different options here before I dive into the actual customizer options. On the left, we have a change the block order. Now, this is really important because you can just keep creating lots of blocks, and then you can just change the order however you want, and then just make sure to log out and save. So you can then also go ahead at the top and add a new block, and it will add a section down here at the bottom, which you can do the same, and you can either choose from the templates, or here it will be go to add a content block or add a package. So going back, on the right side, you have a few important areas. First, you have the title of a price list. Let's say, for example, 2017-2018 pricing, or our video pricing, or wedding price list, portrait price list, so forth. And then you also, below it, you have colors. Now, these are accent colors. So just so that you guys all know, on the background, the BKG, that's for the background option being default, having none at all, and you can set the preference here. Then you also have the text, which would be the body here, being black. And then you have the accent, being the titles or any sections that would be showcased like that. And then you have the menu options being at the top here. You then are able to add your logo if you want to have that there. You also have the menu type layout where you want it to be. You have the typography settings. Now currently the typography is only Google fonts. So do know that if you want to upload your own custom fonts, we are working on that, but it's not out just yet. Then we have settings. So you can set your width 1000 is the standard. You can also change your currency options here. So you could easily put that into any additional currency. If your currency is not listed here, please do let us know. Header position, you can then choose where you want it to be a sticky navigation as you scroll down to always see your navigation, or the standard, or just always above. You can then also choose wherever you want to have the inquiry form down at the bottom or not. So that people can leave a comment and review what they have selected and so forth. You then are also able to add several different social links down at the bottom so folks can easily follow you on your social feeds. And then whenever you send your price list off initially, you have a few different variations. Public will be if you just want to collect the link and share that link with anybody. If you want to use private, where you actually email folks so that then they get an email invitation, they click that, you can track whether they log in or not. You would click private, you would click users, you would put their name and their email, and you would add their user. You can add as many users as you want through the system. And then if you have terms and conditions, this will be if you have any specific details you would like folks to share. You could easily put everything in here and it will be a tab in your footer area. So now that we've just covered everything on the right panel for the general settings, other than to delete, this would delete the entire price list. You could duplicate this, which is a great option. Let's say, for example, if this is all in English and you wanted to create this in, say, Swedish, I could duplicate this price list after saving, and I would have the same option. I would then go through and change the text into my local language and then resave, so I'd have two price lists. You could also save this as a template, which will be in another tutorial, and then of course just save. Same features up here. So we're going to go ahead and go through the different blocks. Now, images generally should be anything from 1800 pixels for a background. So you'll have a few different variations here. When you edit this, you'll of course have the text areas. You'll be able to change different variations inside. And you'll also be able to have a background color, which you can then change the background and tweak it. But because of this visual, we actually have an image. You could easily go and change the image by clicking here, uploading yours through the standard media library, and of course changing how you want it to scale, whether you want it to stay fixed, to crop, or to always remain as a cover, and then of course have the position of where you want the image to be. You can of course remove this image and upload your own by clicking here. You then also have a few options. If you do make some edits and you don't like those, you can redo or undo those as well, just to do the updates. You also then have padding options. These will allow you to change the size of your slide to be larger or smaller by adding more or less space to the top or the bottom. You then also are able to call and label this section something you may want it to be, which you're able to have this option when you create a block in the first place, or you could delete this block, or you could duplicate it if you wanted to create multiple. So going through into a text area, you could edit the block as well. You'd have the features to change or delete, as well as then the text to update, and then add package add-ons if you wanted to add more features here. So it's quite simple. So if I added that again, I could edit it. I could add in the quantity or the value, additional information, the name of that value, save it, or just remove it like so. And there I go. Going through this, the same process works with the edit block. To go through it, if I want to add an additional image on here rather than a background image, I could just go in, click it, upload it, and the same, adding sections and changing sections. So scrolling through then into an actual package block, you'll see that you'll be able to change the order of these package blocks to different sections as well. And I can of course edit each and save the options, as well as having all the additional features which you've seen before. These then of course are gallery blocks, so you can easily change the order and remove the order how you want. You could edit and change the image, add text and so forth, so it's all very straightforward. Now at the bottom you can again add the blocks, or in the footer settings you could click edit footer, and you can then change the copyright, as well as add a background, add an image and so forth, as well as add any padding. But the main thing is you can add your own logo. So let's say, for example, I just wanted to go in here. I could add that, and I could always edit and change the size as well if I wanted. This usually feature will only work if your image logo, by the way, is much larger. So if you upload an image, say at 1200 pixels wide, rather than at 400 pixels, you'll then be able to scale it up or down depending on what you want. And then of course save. There is one additional feature which you'll always be able to have in between, which is going to come with a lot of new options that we're working on, will be called add spacing. So you'll be able to go ahead and add block spacing between section blocks, and you can change that however you want. And just know that the background image which you have set up here will be the background that will be visible between image blocks if you have that. So once done, you can always go ahead and save, and that will be considered your first price list ready to send off to folks.